What's going on, guys? It's Miles Corey with Writing with Miles Corey, and today I want to do part two of a character analysis of Tyrion Lannister. This one's going to be a pretty long one. So in the first part, we talked about his relationship with his family, and now I kind of want to dive into a bit of season one, season two of the show. And for this video, we're going to be talking about show Tyrion, not the book Tyrion, who is, a pretty different character. But Tyrion, so it's at the end of season one, we'll kind of start there, because I think we talked a bit about season one in the first video, but Jamie, who is Tyrion's brother, gets captured by Robb Stark, and at this point, Tywin is, obviously he's distraught about losing kind of his golden child, his heir. But at this point, he gives Tyrion the position as Hand of the King, while Tywin Lannister is, fighting this war against Robb Stark. And there's a few reasons for this. A couple in particular is, number one, despite Tywin's feelings, with Tyrion. Sorry. Despite Tywin's feelings with Tyrion, he does acknowledge that Tyrion is a smart guy and probably is the smartest of his children, and that he's capable. And number two is, I think at this point, he's very unsure about whether Jaime's going to come back. And Tywin is very big on legacy. And to him, Jaime is his legacy. He's the golden child. He's the heir. And he's in the Kingsguard right now, but Tywin has plans to get him out of the Kingsguard. And he sees that he's going to die and Jaime's going to be his heir. With that potentially being taken out of the equation, now he's starting to put his, eggs into the Tyrion bucket. And Tyrion, I think he sees this a little bit, but, he, for the first time in his life, he's been given real responsibility by his father, to represent his house. And Tyrion, he is, by all means, in the show, a good guy. He's a morally, good character in terms of, obviously George R.R. Martin makes has a lot of characters that are good and bad. Tyrion's generally more good, and a lot of people would wonder, why does he fight so hard for the Lannisters if he's a good guy? And he has to know that he's, fighting for this, for the wrong side, and I'm sure he does. But with Tyrion, I think what overrides this is his desire to, kind of fit in, and his desire to, be acknowledged by his father. Despite, Tyrion hating his father to an extent for how he's treated him, because Tyrion never got that recognition, that validation from his father growing up, it's something that he desperately craves. Same with Cersei, and even same with Jaime to an extent. I would say, I would argue that because Jaime got that validation growing up, he doesn't need it from his father as much, and he seems to be the one kid out of the three that doesn't, just pander to Tywin's. Well, I wouldn't say Tyrion panders, but doesn't go along with what Tywin wants. Because he doesn't need it, because if Jaime truly needed that validation, he would leave the Kingsguard, but he still hasn't. But anyway, getting back to Tyrion, he goes to King's Landing. Season 2 is him ruling as the Hand of the King. Obviously, he butts heads with Cersei a lot. He has a lot of enemies in court. He's not the most popular guy, right? I mean, he's a dwarf in this medieval world where, dwarves are looked down upon, and despite being the son of Tywin Lannister, the most powerful man in Westeros, he's still a dwarf, and a lot of people, know that, he's not, he's kind of seen, a lot of people have the same image of him as that Tywin and, the rest of his family besides Jaime have of Tyrion. So Tyrion he has his allies, obviously, and he navigates through season 2, but at the end of season 2, in the Battle of the Blackwater Bay against Stannis, Tyrion and his wildfire trick, and then just in general his leadership, and kind of his tactical strategies, really pulls through for the Lannisters. And without Tyrion, there's no doubt that they would have lost the Blackwater. And Cersei, Joffrey, Tyrion, all of them would have, been dead. Stannis would have killed them all, and he would have been, the king of the Iron Throne, or the king of the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, king of the Seven Kingdoms. Um, but despite Tyrion's efforts in this war, and despite everybody really knowing deep down that he was the hero of the war, he doesn't receive this validation. If anything, Tywin is actually acknowledged as the savior of the city, and he's given the credit that, for coming in at the very end and cleaning up, but if Tyrion wasn't there, if not for Tyrion's strategies with the wildfire, um, and re-inspiring the troops, after Joffrey had left the battlefield, there would have been nothing to say. There would have been nothing to say for Tywin. The war would have been over, or the battle would have been over, and the Lannisters would have been finished. So that's my part two on Tyrion. Again, he's a guy. He has his morals. He doesn't, like we'll talk about it later with how he treats Sansa. He wants her. He doesn't want to marry her because he knows that she doesn't want to be with him. Um, there's a lot of things with Tyrion, where he does the right thing, or he tries to do the right thing, but at the end of the day, he still fights for the villainous side, the villainous house of House Lannister, um, and just a really complex character. But I think with Tyrion, it comes down to the fact that he wants that validation from his family. And while he wants to see good in the world, while he wants to do good, I should say, I think above all else, he wants the validation of his family, as I said before. But it's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys all enjoy, like and subscribe, and thank you guys very much for your help or attention, I guess.